Welcome to the Splash 2024 Black Diamond Advisory YouTube podcast. I've just for our viewers, I've said that now like 28 times. I still cannot really get it out of my mouth,
nailed
clearly. It. So, with all of that, my name is Cameron Lackpur, and I have as my co-host
Selvan Katukaran.
And we are delighted to have our very special guest,
Tiffany Ma.
Tiffany. Thank you for coming to this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You are responsible for both Selvan and myself being in the OneStream world.
That's a great honor. That's a great honor. Thank you. Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to take full responsibility, but I will take some credit.
You are the person I approached at Splash 2017 and said, do you guys have any openings? Are you guys hiring?
That's not true. When I met Natalie, she told me, oh, Cameron Lockport. And I said, Cameron's here? And she said, yeah, he's a good friend. She pointed you out. You're surrounded by all your groupies. And I said, can I get an introduction? And then we started talking.
Yes.
And I shot all the emails out to Peter Fougere and everyone. And I said, Cameron is interested. This is a big deal. So.
Peter talked about that
yesterday.
Yeah. We were telling him we were his worst personnel decision ever, but
Yeah. Yeah.
So, would you tell us a little bit about so we actually came from similar technical backgrounds. You made the decision first. Tell us about that, because you were in the Oracle Hyperion space as well.
I was in the Oracle Hyperion planning space, specifically S-Space. That's how I knew of you. And I started off implementing it at Deloitte as a consultant. And then, I got tired of traveling. So I decided to be a Hyperion functional administrator at UC Berkeley. And then while I was there, I was getting a little bit antsy. I was wanting to travel again. And someone that I knew from Deloitte called me, and he had joined OneStream. He's local in Rochester at the time. And he said, there's this opportunity. This company, I believe in the leaders. They came from he explained the lineage of Tom and Bob and everyone. And I thought, it's kind of a risk, but also not really, because I believed in Tom and Bob, and I believed that they knew what they were doing when they created FDM and, HFM. And so I took the leap, and I was like, I can go back into consulting. It'll be tough, but it was the best decision I ever made. I never thought I'd stay. I'm on my 8th year. I never thought I'd be at a company that long. And, it's a lot of, it's the culture, it's the technology, it's the growth, it's everything. It's really exciting. It's the splashes every year that you see grow, So
you, like me, have moved a lot of departments inside OneStream.
That's right. That's right.
So we both started in services.
Yes.
And then you moved to product management.
You moved to pre-sales.
Okay.
That's right. You were.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
For a hot minute. And then I got proposed. Then I was in pre-sales as part of our sensible machine learning, SC group. I was one of the first two or so to start that group. And so I was focused on sensible machine learning, which was exciting and shiny and new. And then I got, actually splashed 2 years ago, San Antonio. The VP at the time, now SVP Scott Stern, came up to me and started talking about a role that he was thinking about that was needed, and we needed to, an evangelist for sensible ML and the AI services, and we needed to have an influence, understand the competitive market that's happening with AI space and how it's in fact impacting CPM. And it was a big decision. I remember talking to you, having you help me with my blog. Thank you. No one knew that until now, so I hope that was going to.
I was like pre-ChatGPT.
I was pre-ChatGPT, which now they're allowed to use when they're writing it for the interview. So, but yes, you were my ChatGPT.
There we go.
And I remember discussing it a lot and thinking, well, it's a lateral move, but I don't know if I want to go into marketing. I've developed technical skills through services and somewhat through pre-sales. Am I going to lose it? But I made the move, and I'm really glad I did. I took a risk, and I've learned a lot. I've grown in more ways than I thought I would, and it's a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun.
There's one thing that you forgot to mention. This is something which I was I think it was Wave or Splash. I was just looking at something, and then a voice came through the speakers, and I'm like, I know that voice. That's Tiffany. When I look at it, it was OneStream Navigator or some course
Browser
over
UX.
there. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, so you've done that too. You forgot to mention that.
Yeah, you hadn't made that splash, but yes, I remember my phone just got flooded with messages from people, including yourself. Yeah, yeah, they chose me to do the voiceover, but yeah.
There you go.
But what about you? Changed groups in
Yes.
Black Diamond?
All three of us used to be in services,
Yeah.
delivery.
Now no more.
None of us are any longer. It's terrifying.
Product.
It's terrifying, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yes.
But aren't you happy with the decision?
Yes.
Yes, no hesitation, right? Yeah.
It is a very different role, you know.
Yeah.
As a consultant, projects have stages.
Yes.
When you've done it long enough, you know exactly how it's going to work.
Yes.
Me, leave services, it's a totally different world. I've had to reinvent myself.
Yeah. It's a different way of working.
It is a very different way of working.
Yeah.
And the deliverables that I'm used to, but I think all of us were used to, they don't exist.
Right.
Right? There are deliverables. There are things you have to do.
They're different.
But they're totally, totally different.
Yeah.
So for all of you consultants out there that are maybe watching this and thinking about a change, be prepared for a sleigh ride or a roller coaster ride. It's something to
Yeah.
do.
I will say though, I was talking about this the other day, is I do miss the services, the projects where you start and then you get to finish
Yep.
what you
Very
started.
tangible, very tangible
Very
outcome.
tangible outcome. You have an application, your customer's happy or maybe not. Hopefully they're happy, but it's very different. I mean, we still have those here. And pre-sales too, like you had a deal, you either won it or you not. You didn't win it. It was like a binary thing. With product marketing, and I'm sure with product, product maybe less so, but it's very different.
Yeah. So describe what you do.
Yeah. So, first off, product marketing in OneStream is somewhat newer. I mean, just like OneStream, right? We're not like Oracle. We haven't been around the space for as long as others. So the product marketing group is somewhat new as well. But the idea of a product marketer is you're kind of the center person for within the company, right? You serve different constituents within the organization. So I'm dealing with sales, I'm dealing with product, I'm dealing with pre-sales, I'm dealing with, outside competitive intelligence. So I'm basically supposed to be the face of our product. So initially it was Sensible Machine Learning. Now it's expanding out to our Sensible AI portfolio. But so I go out and speak on it at our events.
I
And
watch
stuff.
you on LinkedIn. Yes.
I have a lot of social media LinkedIn. Yeah. And I'm also supposed to be the expert internally, right? So when I go to, I'll post on our team's CRO channel to salespeople and be like, we have a new Sensible Machine Learning deck with messaging. I did a recording of it for the talk track. Check it out. It's on our Seismic page, and like enable a little bit, right? And people come to me for questions, or like customers or prospects have certain things, they'll come to me. Another aspect is competitive intelligence. So AI in the CPM space is really new, right? I mean,
That's very new.
Yeah.
And it's very hot.
It's very hot, and I mean, I'm not biased, but we are steps way ahead of other competitors right now. I mean, it's changing every day, but like we're fortunate enough with our machine learning, our data scientists to have really gotten a head start and have Tom to really guide the way. But with generative AI coming out and all the other elements, like I have to go and see what our competitors are doing. And people are asking, Microsoft Copilot, how does that compare to what we're going to release? They're apples and oranges, right? But people don't know why. Like Microsoft Copilot isn't built on a financial model like ours, right? And that's the foundation of why. That's our moat. That's why we're unique, right? And Microsoft is not a CPM solution, so. But yeah, so then I have to go back and come back and say, hey, or how are they using AI for the close processes or transaction matching, right? And so I come back to the data science and the product team and say, hey, we're seeing these things. Gartner and different analysts, are seeing that the market's needing this, or customers are wanting this in their product. And so I'm sort of influencing from the outside in as well. So just all over the place. I'm being pulled from a million directions at once, which is fun, but stressful.
Your day goes by really fast.
It does go by really
Yep.
fast. Yeah.
I can well imagine.
Yeah. I was the first pre-sales person to move to product marketing. And then shortly after we had a second, and he said, I've worked harder in this first month here than I have in the last few years in my other roles, which
That's funny.
says a lot. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
How do you think, we all come from a consulting background. Were you always a consultant? You were at Berkeley, so I
switched. Yeah.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
tired of it, and then I came back, and it's draining, right? Because you love it because it's exciting, and you're all these, but then you get exhausted right away from the travel, and you
travel
switch.
stuff,
So you
yes.
kind of I see that a lot with people. You kind of flip between.
back and forth between industry.
Yeah,
and
you as
consulting.
well. I mean, you didn't want to travel. And,
Yeah,
and
I got tired of 40
Yeah.
weeks on the road.
Yeah.
So both from a customer, I have a question from two different perspectives, consulting and customers. How is AI going to change what implementation consultants do?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there is some anxiety out there about, I have all these skills and now those skills aren't going to be so important. And there are these other skills I better pick up really, really quickly or I'll be left behind, right? Nobody wants to be the last, buggy whip maker, right?
Yeah, I think we're really early stages for that. I mean, I know there's fear of
Change.
change, but I'm a little bit surprised to hear that consultants are scared of it. I can hear I can understand a post office worker being worried about AI or a call center being worried about AI taking over their job. But a consultant has in-depth knowledge about industry, about the technology, right? About people, right? I mean, I don't see that happening. I mean, the only thing that I can say is going to change because it will impact it is it's going to help them, right? Our generative AI, sensible generative AI, which is using LLM technology, is going to help them be able to find answers to questions more quickly and easily with just by typing in your chatbot, right? Versus having to look through documentation. I mean, the demo from last year, if you remember, and they'll do it this afternoon as well, is you can ask it how to build a workflow, right? And how do you write a business rule? And I mean, we've been testing it internally. We've had different groups, and I've been going in and testing it, and it's accurate and it's fast. And so think about having to read through documentation or pinging someone because it's there's so many nuances and little steps, right? And you have to attach it to and so it just does it all for you, and that's going to help them immensely with speed and in terms of implementation and in terms of documentation as well. They were able to now create a quick view off of the question. And so the biggest problem that we've seen from customers, and I'm sure you guys have, is I don't even know where to start to create a quick view, right? I don't know how to navigate the 18 different dimensions to get in there. Right, they gave them it's like creating a quick view off of the Q view, that cell intersection. They're doing it through natural language, right? What's the variance of our expenses from this quarter to last quarter? It's this amount. Here's the citation to back it up with how I got it. You want to create a quick view? Here's that number in a quick view. Now you can start clicking away. How many steps is that, right? You just did it in a few seconds. That's going to change the game for customers and implementation.
What skills should implementers start figuring out now?
I think for specifically for Gen AI, I think you have to learn prompting, understanding how to ask the questions, right? Because I think it is a skill. You have to know, and I think it's good because it helps you with communication. Because you really just have to be very direct and clear in your question. You can't just be why do my numbers look like this? What numbers? What are you talking about? There are dimensions involved. So I think that's the first thing. And then, I don't know. I think implementers should just always be on top of the latest technology.
I think they have to. Yes.
Yeah, they have to understand what it's running through. Even multi-stepped questions, we're not there yet with sensible Gen AI. So understanding, first I need to ask about the variance, and then I can understand and dig deeper from there and kind of layer in the question. So again, goes back to the prompting, I think.
Yeah. It's a generational gap. We used to say, get your Google foo. Now it's a GPT foo.
Foo?
Yeah.
Kung Fu, Jiggle Fu. It's just a weird. You never heard that before? Oh, okay. We did not make that up. Make that up.
I'm going to use that.
I have a paid subscription to ChatGPT just to figure out what it's like, just to poke around.
Have you tried the new 4.0?
It just came out a week ago.
Very fast.
It's there in a paid version of ChatGPT.
Yeah, I have it as well. The Duolingo, the language learning.
I have not looked at that.
Their stock plummeted after.
Oh yes, I read about that.
Yeah,
Yes, and also
because-
some academic stuff as well.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they did a test. If you can look it up, but like do a ChatGPT's 4.0, the translation and language you speak to it, 2 different languages, immediate translation. The problem was it was slow before, so it wasn't really usable. But you speak French, I speak Italian, or the Chinese, 2 very different languages.
Right.
You speak it immediate translation, so you're just having a conversation.
This is like Star Trek's universal translator. Oh my
You
God.
bring up a Star Trek reference.
I'm not a geek, am I?
Didn't you guys dress up as Star Trek for one of the?
Yes, we did. For
did,
one of
we
yes,
did
we
dress
did.
up.
I
That
was
was the
I was
first
Kirk.
one
He was
yeah.
Spock. Our friend Natalie was Uhuru. Yes, it was. It was.
That was
something.
probably the most appropriate costume for you guys. I feel like.
Probably was.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
So, from a customer perspective, what do you think is coming from them? What do they need to start learning quickly? Because they're going to be the consumers of it. It's one thing to say, well, you're the people that implement it. Here's the things they need to build the systems. Now it's delivered.
Yeah. I think same thing. I think it's also understanding a prompt because you're still asking the questions to the technology, right? I'm referring to Sensible Gen AI, but I also think they need to understand like the workings of it. So like our unique value prop for our Sensible Gen AI and all our Sensible AI products is transparency, but specifically for the Sensible Gen AI solution, we're giving not only citing the sources, which I think is like table stakes, but it's giving you 3 other ratings for how, like one, complexity, like how complex was the question? Did it have to go through various sources, have to cross-check, right? I can't remember the other 2, but like the thought process and some other one. But the point is like the customer should know, hey, it's not going to be 100% the AI spits out the result and that's it. That should never be the case ever, right? Even in every industry, right? Healthcare, whatever it may be, you always need that human element. I always talk about Sensible ML's output for creating a forecast number. Like you're never going to just take it and say that's it. There's always going to be that I call tribal knowledge. I think I took that term from you actually a long time ago.
Did. Yep.
Yeah, but there's always that tribal knowledge that the AI model's not going to, know. The forecaster knows it. So there's always going to be that. But same with the transparency results when they tell you, it's like if it's a little bit more complex of an answer, if they had to go through a few more thought processes, it's just telling the user, hey, just fact check it a little bit more, right? Don't take it as is versus like a very simple response with a complexity of 1, and like then you don't have to do as much, right? So just understanding how to use and interact the technology, I think is the most part, just like with any software. Yeah.
So we're almost at the end of our session. Unfortunately, we could talk a lot.
You could
longer.
talk a lot
Yeah, we
longer.
could. We always ask our OneStream guests, where do you think OneStream will be in a year and then in 3 years? And we don't go beyond 3 because I think 3 is pretty hard, given how fast everything's changing.
Yeah.
What do you think? This is unofficial, right?
Don't we say we're trying to shoot for? Isn't this like public knowledge? What about you guys?
I don't know that I could even think a year out, but I could think 3 years out. I think the profile of the junior consultants that I work with, I think will be completely different. I mean, they are different. I mean, every generation has its perspective and its views and its technology and its approaches. I think that they are only going to think of AI. I think that's the big buzz in school. That's the big buzz culturally in technology. I think they're going to look at writing a finance business rule and understanding how the data buffer works. I'm going to go, why would you want to know that? I mean, who would ever possibly care about that sort of thing? It will be like very quickly the difference of when I started with, they called them personal computers, even before that, just hobbyist stuff.
Yeah.
Where it went from being like nobody's doing it to many people are doing it to everyone does it, where it's absolutely pervasive.
Right.
We were talking before the show about geeks versus nerds, right? The terms and whether it's pejorative or not.
Right.
It was not a popular thing to be involved with computers in the 80s. That was me.
Yeah.
And it's totally changed.
Completely flipped.
I would imagine if we had a conversation with someone who was 21 or 23 or something like that, they go, why would anybody not view it positively? Of course it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
I think that's where AI will be within the OneStream space.
I agree. Yeah. That's a good point. And you mentioned, the junior analysts. I think with Genesis and like the ease of building the app now, you're right. They're not going to
They're
need
not
to.
even going to know.
Why
They're
would you
not
want to
gonna
know?
know.
Why would you
Yeah.
want to need to know?
All those dashboard components, that's all gone.
Yeah. Who's going to miss that?
Yeah.
Few people will, but
Yeah.
it'll be me.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, with that, Tiffany, thank you so much. You
Thank
were a
you
delightful
both.
guest.
It's good to
If
hang out
only-
with you guys.
If only we had an hour, but we don't.
Aw.
Aw.
Well, we'll see you guys tonight.
Yes. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.